You say, no one controls your emotions. But look closer. A rude comment ruined your morning. A cold reply made you spiral for hours. A missed call pulled you back into an old memory you swore you buried. So let me ask you this. Who's really in control here? Every time you overreact, every time you snap, sulk, or stew, you hand someone the remote to your mind, and they don't even know they have it. That's the first mistake. We think we're in charge, when in truth, most people live in emotional autopilot. One trigger, and they explode. Disappointment, and they collapse. You believe you're calm? Then why does a stranger's frown affect your entire day? Why does one email at 9 p.m. ruin your sleep? This is not control. This is emotional slavery, disguised as sensitivity. Let me paint a picture. You're sipping your morning coffee, finally at peace. Then your phone buzzes. A message from a coworker, blunt, cold, no thanks at the end. Your heart races. You replay the wording, over and over. You go from calm to chaos in 12 seconds. And for what? Did they do that to you? Or did you do it to yourself? Here's the truth no one wants to hear. Your emotions are your responsibility, not theirs, not your boss's, not your partner's, yours. Between what happens to you and how you react, there's a space, a sacred space. And inside that space lives your freedom. Viktor Frankl said it best. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space lies our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. When someone cuts you off in traffic, that's stimulus. Your rage, that's your choice. When someone talks down to you in front of others, that's stimulus. Your silence or eruption, again, that's you. You think you're powerless? Number. You're just untrained. Emotional mastery isn't about pretending you don't care. It's about knowing you don't have to respond right now. It's about learning to pause. Think of it like this. Wearing noise-canceling headphones doesn't stop the noise. It stops the noise from reaching you. That's what control looks like. That's what peace feels like. But peace doesn't happen by accident. It takes practice. So here's where you start. Pause and name the emotion. Not, I'm fine. Say, I feel anger, I feel threatened, I feel small. Name it. Own it. Ask, is this about them or about me? What fear is being poked? What insecurity just got lit up? Choose your reaction. Don't default to it. Walk, breathe, postpone. You don't have to respond in the heat of your wound. Every second you delay your reaction, you steal power back from the world. Every breath you take before replying, you rewire the machine that was built to explode. That's what mastery looks like. Not silence out of fear, but silence out of strength. So the next time someone tries to push your buttons, pause and remind yourself, they don't hold the remote. You just forgot you were holding it the whole time. Some people think anger makes them powerful, but look closer. When someone says something cruel and you lash out, who's in charge? When a small rejection ruins your week, who's holding the chains? You think your reaction is a weapon, but most of the time it's a leash, and someone else is holding it. We've all been there. You're in the middle of a good day, sun's out, mind calm. Then, out of nowhere, someone snaps at you. You feel it rise, the burn in your chest, the tension in your jaw. You want to say something, anything, because if you don't, it feels like they've won. So you snap. You throw words like knives, and for a second, it feels good. But afterward, shame, regret, a hollow silence. You didn't win, you bled. You see, in the Stoic view, The real battlefield isn't out there. It's within. And your reaction isn't just a moment, it's a mirror. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If someone does wrong, it is their problem. But if you respond with anger, it becomes yours." That's the brutal truth. No one can make you angry. They can only offer the invitation. You decide to RSVP. And most people say yes without thinking. They react out of habit, not clarity. Out of ego, not strength. But what if you paused? What if, instead of exploding, you asked, "What am I defending here? My pride or my peace?" Here's a mental shift. Your reaction is not the proof of your power. Your pause is. The world will keep testing you. People will insult, dismiss, provoke. But they only win when they control your next move. Imagine this. You're in a meeting. You offer a suggestion, and someone laughs. Maybe they're insecure. Maybe they're just mean. But here's the key. Their behavior reveals them. Your response reveals you. In that moment, you have a choice. React or rise. It doesn't mean you stay silent forever. It means you don't let the moment own you. You respond on your terms, in your timing, through your lens of values. This is what Epictetus taught. It's not what happens to you, but how you react that matters. Most people react because they're still carrying old wounds. They think every slight is a threat. Every disagreement is disrespect. So they fight not for truth, but for identity. But the Stoic doesn't fight that way. The Stoic fights by not entering the ring, because the real victory is emotional freedom. So here's your practice. Name it, don't become it. Say, "This is anger," not "I am angry." That one-word shift changes everything. Delay the reaction. Count to 5. Take a breath. Give the emotion a chance to pass or shrink. Ask, is this worth it? Is it worth your peace, your energy, your dignity? Most of the time, it's not. And the moment you see that, you break the chain. So the next time you feel the fire rise, don't fight it, witness it, then choose. Not reaction, but response. Not fury, but focus. Not chains, but control. Because emotional mastery doesn't mean you feel nothing. It means you're no longer a puppet pulled by every string. And that, right there, is how you become untouchable. You give, you listen, you show up, you stay late, you remember birthdays. And when it's your turn to need something, silence. You think, "I would never treat them like this." And you're right. You wouldn't. But here's the brutal truth. They're not you. And expecting them to be is how you stay emotionally enslaved. The pain you feel isn't just from their behavior. It's from the story you wrote in your head about how they should behave. You assumed your kindness would be returned. You assumed your loyalty meant something. You assumed they would care the way you do. And those assumptions? They're the bars of your emotional prison. Let's call it what it is. Expectations are just disguised attempts to control people. You don't want to control them maliciously. You want to protect yourself from pain. But either way, you're trying to script a role in a play they never agreed to be in. A friend doesn't check in after you open up. You feel abandoned. A sibling forgets your birthday. You feel unloved. A partner doesn't respond the way you would. You feel betrayed. But pause. Is that truly about them? Or about your projection? Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly." He wasn't being cynical. He was being prepared. The Stoic doesn't build their peace on how others behave. They build it on how they choose to respond. Here's the truth. Everyone is walking through life shaped by different traumas, priorities, and blind spots. To expect them to see the world the way you do is not just unfair. It's delusional. It's like getting mad at the ocean for not being still. So what's the alternative? Lower your standards? Drop your illusions. Set boundaries. Define what you will and won't accept. But don't confuse that with demanding someone else change. Because if your peace depends on someone becoming you, you've already lost it. Here's your practice. Acknowledge the expectation. Before the hurt settles in, ask, what was I expecting here? Challenge its fairness. Is it reasonable to expect them to think like me? Or am I projecting? Reclaim your focus. Ask, what do I control right now? How can I respond in alignment with my own integrity, not their inconsistency? And when someone shows you who they are, don't argue, don't justify, don't try to rewrite them. Observe, adjust, detach. Because once you stop expecting people to be versions of you, you stop being emotionally blackmailed by disappointment. You stop being shocked. You stop being outraged. You stop being shattered. And you start being free. You feel the heat rising in your chest. Someone misrepresents you again. They twist your words, ignore the facts, dismiss your side. You know you're right, so you start building your case. You prepare your comeback, your evidence, your sharpest words, because if you don't correct them, who will? But pause for a second. Let me ask you, do you want to be right or do you want to be free? Because more often than not, being right is a trap, a seductive one. It lures you with pride, feeds your ego. But in the end, it chains you to people, conflicts, and conversations that don't deserve your energy. Think about the last argument you won. Did you feel peace? Or just the temporary high of domination followed by the quiet shame of escalation? The truth is, the need to always be right doesn't come from strength. It comes from fear. Fear of being misunderstood. Fear of looking weak. Fear of losing control. But here's what Stoicism teaches. You don't lose anything when you let someone else be wrong. Seneca said, "A wise man is content with being thought foolish, if by being silent he can avoid conflict." Let that land. He's not weak. He's in command of himself. You think you're proving your intelligence by debating everyone. You're proving your attachment. Because when you always need to win, you're no longer choosing your battles. You're trapped in all of them. Here's a simple shift. Ask yourself, what is this costing me? Your time? Your peace? Your relationship? Maybe it's with a spouse who insists their way is better. Maybe it's with a friend who refuses to see your side. You could spend an hour trying to fix their view. Or you could respond with one sentence. I see it differently, but I respect your view. That sentence ends wars. That sentence makes you untouchable. Because true confidence doesn't need applause. And true peace doesn't seek victory. It seeks clarity. So here's your practice. Feel the urge, but don't feed it. When someone challenges you, notice the heat, then let it pass. Ask, does this matter in 5 days? 5 years? If not, it doesn't deserve more than 5 seconds of your energy. Speak when it serves peace, not pride. If your response is to protect understanding, speak. If it's to feed your ego, stay silent. There's no weakness in letting go. There's wisdom. Because the people who truly respect you don't need you to win the argument. They need you to stay grounded when it matters most. So the next time someone provokes your need to prove, pause. And remember, peace isn't found at the end of a fight. It's found in the moment you realize you don't need one. You're proud of something, an idea, a project, a decision you finally had the courage to make. Then someone speaks. Just a sentence, maybe less. A smirk, a condescending tone, a half joke that isn't funny. And suddenly, your confidence collapses. You replay it in your head. You wonder if they're right. You shrink quietly, but deeply. That's how fast it happens. One comment, one voice, and your entire self-worth starts to wobble. But let me ask you this. When did you start renting out your identity to strangers? You weren't born like this. You learned it. Somewhere along the way you were taught that approval equals value, that silence equals shame, that if they don't clap, it's not worth doing. And so now, as an adult, you carry this invisible scoreboard. Every compliment adds a point. Every insult erases 5. You're exhausted, but you keep playing. Why? Because you still believe the lie. What they say about me must be true. It's not. Here's the Stoic reality. Words only have power when you let them into your bloodstream. If you don't absorb them, they pass. If you attach to them, they cut. Marcus Aurelius put it like this: we all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinions than our own. You think being sensitive means you're deep. Sometimes, it just means you've left the door to your peace wide open and let anyone walk in with muddy shoes. Let me give you an image. Words are like arrows. Some are aimed, some are random, but none of them pierce unless you drop your shield. The Stoic doesn't avoid criticism. They filter it. Is there truth here? Can I grow from this? If yes, take it. Use it. If not, let it fall to the ground. No ceremony, no reaction, no self-wound. Because here's the core shift. You are not what they say. You are how you respond to what they say. So how do you reclaim control? Pause before you internalize. When someone criticizes or mocks, don't swallow it instantly. Ask, do I believe this? Or am I just afraid of it? Separate the voice from the value. Their voice is just noise. Your value is unshakable if you stop tying it to outside applause. Reaffirm what you already know. Write it down. Say it out loud. My worth is not on trial. Not today. Lao Tzu said it clearly. Care about what other people think, and you will always be their prisoner. And he was right. Because every time someone's words derail your mood, you hand them the key to your inner cell. Lock the door. Keep the key. Because once you stop letting others define you, you stop being afraid of them. And once you're no longer afraid of being judged, you're free to become someone no one can shake. You're tired, but not from work, from people, the constant demands, the late-night calls, the endless texts that start with, "Can I ask you a quick favor?" And you say yes, again, even when your body says no, even when your mind is screaming. Why? Because saying no makes you feel guilty. Because setting boundaries feels selfish. Because deep down, you're afraid they'll stop liking you if you stop pleasing them. Let me say this plainly. If you don't build boundaries, you'll end up resenting the very people you're trying to help. And that's not kindness. That's self-betrayal. We often blame others for draining us. But the truth is brutal. You're not exhausted because they keep asking. You're exhausted because you keep saying yes. You don't need more time. You need stronger walls. Think of your energy like a well. If everyone draws from it and you never refill it, it runs dry. And guess who suffers? Not them. You. Epictetus reminds us, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. Your time, your space, your peace, they're within your control. But only if you guard them. So why don't we? Because we fear being disliked. We confuse boundaries with rejection. We think if we say no, we're cold, distant, unloving. But here's the shift. Boundaries are not walls to shut people out. They're gates that protect who gets in. You can be kind and firm. You can love people and still say, "Not now." You can care deeply and still choose yourself. Try this. A friend calls at midnight. You don't answer. In the morning you say, "I care about you, but I turn my phone off at night for my health." That's not rude. That's responsible. A coworker dumps a last-minute task. You reply, "I'm at capacity right now. Let's plan better next time." That's not cold. That's leadership. Because every yes you give to others is a no you whisper to yourself. So here's your practice. Clarify your limits. Write them down. Know what drains you and where you need space. Communicate without apology. Say what you mean, kindly, calmly, but clearly. You don't need to justify self-respect. Enforce the line. When someone crosses it, don't bend. Repeat, reaffirm. Respect yourself enough not to collapse. Lao Tzu said, "He who knows when to stop does not find himself in trouble." Boundaries are how you stop. Before burnout, before bitterness, before breakdown. So the next time you feel pulled in too many directions, don't ask, "Why are they doing this?" Ask, "Why am I allowing it?" Protect your energy like your life depends on it. Because in many ways, it does. Someone disrespects you. Publicly, deliberately, you feel the fire rise. Your pulse quickens. Your jaw tightens. The words come to your lips. Sharp, loaded, ready to launch. You want to put them in their place. To strike back. To make them regret it. But you don't. You say nothing. And in that silence, you win. Not because you're weak, but because you're too strong to be provoked. Let's be honest. Most people respond to disrespect with more noise. They yell, snap, type paragraphs in all caps. They think they're fighting back, but they're not fighting. They're bleeding. Because every word you throw in anger is a piece of yourself lost. Stoicism teaches us, you don't have to show up to every fight you're invited to. Marcus Aurelius said, the best answer to anger is silence. That isn't passivity. That's control. When someone tries to bait you, they want something, your energy, your reaction, your loss of composure. Don't give it to them. Responding with silence is a decision, a strategy, a shield. Think of silence as your fortress. Inside it, you're untouchable. Outside of it, you're exposed, reactive, predictable. Let me paint a picture. You're in a meeting. Someone throws a passive-aggressive jab. The room pauses, waiting for your comeback. But you sip your water. You nod slightly. And you move on. That moment, you just dominated the space. Without a word. Because now they're uncomfortable. Now they're questioning themselves. Now the spotlight isn't on your reaction, it's on their pettiness. That's power. Here's how to make silence your weapon. Breathe before the burn. When provoked, inhale, exhale. Let the emotion rise and pass without grabbing it. Listen fully without defending. Sometimes, people just want you to break character. Don't give them the satisfaction. Respond later or not at all. You don't owe every insult a reply. Silence, followed by strategic clarity later, is more lethal than instant rage. And here's the truth. Most regret doesn't come from what we didn't say. It comes from what we said too quickly. The Buddhist teaching echoes this. Speak only if it improves upon the silence. Silence isn't about swallowing your feelings. It's about protecting your state. It's about keeping your kingdom undisturbed. So the next time someone tries to push your buttons, pause and ask yourself, am I reacting to reclaim power, or am I about to give it away again? Because when you master silence, you master attention. You master presence. You master you. And that's the kind of power no one can steal, because you never had to raise your voice to claim it. You wake up late, spill your coffee, get cut off in traffic, and then the final blow. Someone says something rude, careless, unnecessary. You explode. Maybe not out loud, but inside, you're boiling. You think, why does everything have to go wrong today? But what if the question isn't, why is everything going wrong? What if the real question is, why is my peace so fragile? See, anger doesn't just appear. It builds moment by moment, annoyance by annoyance, until one small thing tips it over. And when that happens, we don't just react, we unravel. But here's the truth. Anger and gratitude can't coexist. They're neurologically incompatible. When one is present, the other disappears. You can't feel thankful and furious at the same time. You can't dwell on what's missing while appreciating what's already here. Gratitude is not a cheesy quote on a poster. It's a tactical reset button, a form of psychological self-defense. The Stoics knew this. Cicero called gratitude the parent of all virtues. Why? Because it brings perspective, and perspective destroys entitlement. Let me show you. You're stuck in traffic. Your instinct is to curse the cars, the lights, the world. Now try this instead. I have a car. I'm not walking in the rain. I'm safe. I'm alive. Sounds small? That's the point. Gratitude isn't about faking joy. It's about anchoring your attention to what's still working, instead of drowning in what isn't. You were wronged. Okay, but you still have your integrity, your voice, your breath. And that's more power than most people realize. Here's your practice. Catch the spiral. The moment anger starts to rise, pause. Don't justify it, just observe it. Shift the lens. Ask, what in this moment can I appreciate? A small comfort, a lesson, even just awareness itself. Write it down daily. Gratitude isn't a feeling you wait for. It's a skill you train. Make it a ritual. 3 things every night, no matter how small. Because the truth is this: a bitter mind can't build a better life. And if you're constantly focused on who let you down, what went wrong, what should have happened, you miss what's already standing by your side. Think of gratitude like light. It doesn't fix everything, but it lets you see clearly, so you stop stabbing in the dark. So the next time anger grips you, pause, take a breath, and ask, is this worth trading my peace for? Or can I find one small reason to stay grounded? You'll find that even in chaos, there's always something still working, still present, still yours. And sometimes, that tiny flicker of thankfulness is enough to keep you from burning down your whole day. You say something, you build something, you finally put yourself out there. Then it hits. That's not impressive. I don't get it. Why would you do it that way? Criticism. And suddenly, your shoulders tighten. Your chest caves in. You question yourself. Was I wrong? Was that stupid? Am I the problem? But here's the Stoic shift. Criticism is not an attack. It's a mirror. And what it reflects depends on how you choose to stand in front of it. Most people don't fear being wrong. They fear being seen, because criticism, even when clumsy or cruel, forces you to look at parts of yourself you've tried to keep safe. But if you're serious about growth, you don't run from the mirror. You adjust. You refine. You evolve. Epictetus said it like this: if someone speaks ill of you, instead of defending yourself, say, "He obviously does not know about my other faults, or he would have mentioned them too." That's not sarcasm. That's self-possession. Because when you're secure in who you are, criticism doesn't crush you. It shapes you. Here's the truth. Not all criticism is valid, but all criticism is useful. Why? Because it either teaches you something about yourself or reveals something about them. When someone points out a flaw in your idea, your work, your delivery, pause. Ask, is there a grain of truth here? Is this pain I'm feeling from their words or from my own ego flinching? Let me offer a lens. If the same critique hits you 3 times from 3 different people, it's not an attack, it's a signal. But if it only comes from people who envy, resent, or misunderstand you, that's not a mirror. That's noise. Your job is to know the difference. Here's your practice. Pause before defending. That instant urge to explain or justify, let it pass. Sort the source. Is the person speaking someone you respect? Someone with context? Someone without an agenda? Extract the lesson or discard the arrow. Not every arrow deserves your attention, but some, if examined carefully, carry truth disguised in clumsiness. A Stoic doesn't flinch at discomfort. They lean into it because that's where the refinement begins. Criticism is not a verdict. It's data. And if you want to grow, you need to stop protecting your self-image and start protecting your real self. The self that can handle hard truths, that can listen without collapsing, that can stand in front of the mirror, not to admire, not to condemn, but to adjust. So the next time someone critiques you, don't ask, "Why are they attacking me?" Ask, "What is this revealing about me or about them?" Because the moment you stop taking things personally, you start taking things seriously. And that's the moment you go from being defensive to being unstoppable. Imagine holding a burning coal. You grip it tightly, not because you like the pain, but because you think you need to throw it, to make someone feel what you felt, to finally get even. But as time passes, you realize they don't feel the burn. Only you do. That's what anger does. That's what resentment is. It doesn't punish the one who hurt you. It punishes you. Every minute you carry it. And here's the hard truth. You don't carry pain because you can't let go. You carry it because it makes you feel powerful. Until it drains you. Until it defines you. Until there's nothing left but the wound. Letting go isn't weakness. It's not defeat. It's not saying what they did was okay. It's saying what they did no longer deserves access to my peace. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." That's the essence of Stoicism. The wound may be real. The injustice may be undeniable, but the power to hold or release, that's yours. Let me ask you, how much energy have you wasted replaying conversations in your head? Imagining comebacks? Writing unsent messages? Now ask, what has that energy built? Nothing. Because revenge, rumination, and regret build nothing. They keep you chained to the past, while life quietly passes you by. Letting go isn't passive. It's an act of radical clarity. It says, I know who I am. I know what I'm not. And I refuse to bleed for what I can't change. Here's how you practice. Name what you're holding. Not just, I'm angry. Say, I'm still gripping that betrayal, that rejection, that old injustice. Ask, is this mine to carry or theirs to own? If it's out of your control, then it's out of your hands. Unless you keep dragging it back. Replace the loop. Every time your mind replays it, interrupt. This moment is gone, but I'm still here, and that's what matters. Lao Tzu said, when I let go of what I am, I become what I might be. That's not poetry. That's instruction. Because when you let go of the old story, you create space for a new one. A version of you not defined by what broke you, but by how you rebuilt yourself after. So the next time your past knocks at your door, don't answer with fire. Answer with silence, with stillness, with the strength to say, I choose peace over proof. I choose healing over holding on. I choose myself. And that moment, that quiet, defiant act of release, is when you finally become free.